Hi! Oh, sorry, I was sneezing my brains out just as we went live. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. I don't normally do a Thursday, do I? Sorry, I'm just still trying to just get ready. Let me just get that out of the way. There we go. But we've had a busy day, haven't we? With a busy week this week with Hedgehanda and Crate and Craft and all the rest of it. So we had to have a swap around. So you got me on a Thursday instead. We did a little live earlier for any of you that didn't catch it over at the shop with lots and lots of new stuff, some old stuff as well, but new stuff too that's gone on the website. Says busy. We did a what's in the box. It was the Liberty Christmas. Yay, it's delicious. Really lovely stuff. So I managed to cut down to that. That's annoying. Sorry, I've just noticed I've just messed that block up, but never mind, I can fix it. So yeah, how are you all? Is everybody okay? Let's scroll down and see what's going on. Hi Kate, hi Taryn, hi Heather, thank you darling. Hopefully, yes, it's going to be a little bit chaotic I think with so many of us going, but I'm sure it'll be lovely. Hi Jane, hi Patricia, hi Sarah, I know, hi Anne, lovely, hi everybody. So I haven't really got any news to tell you because we kind of talked about it all earlier. So if you haven't watched it, watch back later, earlier. So we're just going to crack on with it if that's all right with you guys. I don't know what's going on with this camera though. This camera seems like little man was here yesterday. This camera feels like it's moved around quite a bit. We'll see. I'm not sure if this is going to be in the right place. Little toad. He's got a thing about the tripod. He keeps just wanting to get hold of it. So let's go over to the overhead anyway. Hopefully this is in the right place. Let me just scroll up. Hi Jill. Hi Eileen. You're going to crafting group, so leave early but we'll record as always. Oh, bless you. Hi Lindy Lou. Hi Carol. Hope you're feeling better, Lind. Cool. Let me just scroll up and see if this is in the right place. Not sure if it's going to be or not. So this is what I'm calling a Wonky Dresden. Okay, something that I've been playing around with. Saw a picture on Pinterest, couldn't find a pattern, so thought we'd have a play around with this. Now I've used some of the Dragonfly Dance fabrics. Oh yeah, perfect. That looks like about right, doesn't it? Yeah, I've used some of the Dragonfly Dance fabrics to do this, and it has got a partial seam in the centre as well. In fact, if I move that over a weeny bit, you might be able to see it a little bit better. It's all right. Sausage Pants is a pain, and he moves stuff, and then I've got to try and get everything all back without being able to see properly. I'm going to show you how to do Dresden, which we've done before, but this hasn't got any sort of it's a slightly different method with this when you're actually mounting it onto the background squares. And then we've got this little centerpiece here, which is like a partial seam to put all this together, and you get this really kind of slightly abstract, quirky block, which I quite liked. I think would look really pretty in all sorts of fabrics. I mean, I love these. This blue one, this one here, is just stunning. Absolutely one of my favorite. I like an abstract. I like an illusiony abstract thing. Definitely much more than something that's like a definite pattern. I like something that's a little bit different. So I thought I'd use these, and if nothing else, it'll make a nice cushion front, won't it? I can put a border on that, make a beautiful cushion. So I thought we'd have a little go at this today. Right, let me just get rid of that one out of the way. Let me scroll back. Now I know that I'm in the right place. I'm going to scroll back so I can see. Hi, Patricia. Hello. Oh, it is interesting. Just a bit different, isn't it? Oh, thank you, darling. Carol, we thought the heat wave was going to be here this week from cloudy Dorset. It's just getting really hot. It was cloudy here this morning, but it's just getting really hot where we are. Hi, Lynn. Oh, don't worry about being late, darling. You're still here for the party. Yeah, it's just literally the last hour or so. So hopefully Dorset will get a bit warmer for you soon. So I picked out some of these. So I've got, I love this as well, you see. It's the colours in it. I'm definitely a blue girl. So those two, and I've got these two, okay? And I chose a different one for my centre. But you can do this in whatever fabrics you want. This is also, because of the way this goes together, you can make this bigger or smaller. I'm going to talk you through the size that I've done. and then we'll talk about later about how to change it around. You like a bit of Dresden, you do, Lind, don't you? And works well in that fabric. Yeah, I just thought they're quite effective in these fabrics. So I've put 6-inch strips. Okay, so 6-inch strips of fabric. In fact, I'm just gonna do these 2 at a time because I've kept them folded so I can cut 4 Dresdens at once. I've got a Dresden ruler, okay, which looks a little bit like that, all right, which has got all these markings on. Because I've cut 6 inches, we're interested in the 6-inch line here. You could also do it with our 9-degree ruler. You might need more than 4 on each patch, but I'll explain what I mean when we get to that bit. But you could I think you could do it from this as well. Okay, you could, if you haven't got a Dresden, you can do it from this one, because that should be, yeah, 6 inches. You would need more of them because I don't know if you can see, the Dresden is at a different angle. Can you see you've got more of it? So instead of only needing 4 per quarter block, you would need more of these. But you could use this as well, okay, if you haven't got one. However, we do have Dresden rulers on our website if you need them. We just moved some. I've got stuff everywhere today. Stuff everywhere, all in my way. So I'm going to keep them folded double like that and line them up on top of each other. And then we're going to cut. So you need 4 blades. This is a blade, an individual one, 4 blade per quarter. So you're going to need 16 in total. Okay, so I'm going to line my 6-inch line along the bottom edge. It could be the top edge. It really doesn't matter. And I'm going to cut this out. So up that side, turn that, and then cut this one out this way. So there's 2, 4 cut like that, and then I'm going to line it up against. Now I've got a nice right edge there. I can line it right up against that edge there like that, and there we go. I've got another 4 like that, and you would just continue working down your strip to get as many as you like. I'm going to do exactly the same from this. So again, 6-inch strip. In fact, if I'm careful and line this up, back up against the edge, I don't have to trim. There we go. Okay, and then again 6-inch line, and whatever width strip you cut, you would line it up on that line. So if you'd have cut 5-inch strips, if you were doing this out of, say, a charm pack, a bit wasteful, but out of a charm pack, you'd line up on your 5-inch strip. Okay, so up there like that, and then again down that side. Away we go. Okay, so that's all I'm going to cut for this one block, all right, because that'll be 16 blades. What we're going to do now is we're going to take them over to the sewing machine, and we're going to fold these across the wide edge. Okay, we're going to fold these in half like that, and we're just going to stitch down that edge. Okay, so I'm going to do we haven't got time to do all of them. Let me just do 2. Let me do 2 blocks. Okay, so just 2 of each colour. So decide on what. So that one and that one, and oh, let's have that one and that one together. There we go, like that. So that would be, yeah, that's 2 quarters, which is enough for me to show you how to put it all together, because otherwise we'd be here for flipping ages. So fold over the wide edge, and we're going to stitch down on all of these to make that lovely point. You could do this, in fact there's nothing stopping you doing this as the rounded edge as well. You would just have wider ones, but maybe we'll play around with a wider, a round edged Dresden another day. So let's go over here. Let me know how you all are. Is everybody okay? Are you all right? What are you going to be up to in this beautiful heat wave? So folding over on my wide edge, we're just going to stitch away. So 1/4 inch seam allowance. Well, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. I'm just going to fold and chain piece these in. Okay, like that. So anybody having a chat? Anybody telling me what they're up to? Is it sunny by you guys? It is just the sun's breaking out now. It's quite nice and warm out there. So I had my nails done today, ready for my holiday. I'm having my hair cut tomorrow, and then Friday night I'm gonna have to try and get packed. You love the fabrics. They're beautiful, these, aren't they? They're the new Dragonfly. Well, they're not new. They're old fabrics, but we've managed to get them back in. but they're discontinued now, so it really is, once they're gone, they're gone. We can't get any more. So we managed to get a sneaky few from the last few from the wholesaler. Here we go. So I'm just doing that wide edge all the way across like that. And down like that. There we go. So cut my thread. And then we're just going to snip these apart. Just clip them apart. You can use scissors. I'm just using the little cutter on my machine here. We're trying desperately because we've got another Hachanda. So if I come back over to the overhead, I've got another Chandra on the 21st, but it's like 3 days after I come back off holiday. So it's all a bit crazy in the shop at the minute. So what we're going to do now is the folded edge here. Okay, so not the open edge, the folded edge. Just clip that corner a little bit. All right, so clip each of those like that all the way around. This is going to be a bit dull because I'm going to have to do at least these 8 to show you the block. I should have prepped a bit more last night, shouldn't I? But I was trying to get ready for the 21st. Trying to do some of the paperwork that I needed to submit. So there we go. Okay, so it's overcast and windy in Portsmouth, overcast and cool in North Hampshire. Oh, bless you. Well, I'm hoping this hot weather's coming your way because it's beautiful and sunny out there here in Dinas Powys at the minute. So, excuse my horrible squidgy mat, it's disgusting. What you're going to do now is you're going to turn this out. Okay, so you're going to turn it right side out and then I really should find my turner again, I've lost it again, and push out that point. Okay, so you're going to do that on all of them. So just turn that bit out and you've got now that lovely blade. Okay, you can see it's made that lovely point. Back over we go on this one. Push them out. So talk to me while I'm pushing, please, ladies. A quick hi, picking sister-in-law up from work. A car's in the garage. You'll catch later. Oh, well, hope you don't get stuck in any traffic or anything, Carolyn. Hopefully the car wasn't too expensive. Here we go. After we came off air earlier, I did put some more bits into the Go and Go and Gone. There's loads of more mini charms. New ones have gone in there as well with a pattern. So it's lovely there in Warwickshire. Oh, fabulous. So maybe the heat wave's just taking its time to spread across the country. So there we go. Right. Okay, all of those are poked out. And then you want to iron this flat. So you want to just push the seam to one side a little bit. It will naturally want to go to one side. And just, this is the only kind of vaguely tricky bit, and it's not really tricky. It's just make sure that you try and keep this seam right down through the centre. Don't iron them like this. Can you see? Because you're going to have a really wonky blade. I know that was a real over-exaggeration, but try and keep it nice and in the centre. Okay? And just give that a very quick press on all of them. I do love a Dresden. I've done a few Dresden quilts, and it's a really lovely technique. It's quite quick as well. It always looks more complicated than it is, I think. We came to Dorset from Warwick. Oh no! Oh, bless. Well, hopefully Dorset is going to get some lovely weather. Mind you, Sarah was down at that hen do in Dorset last weekend before. And we had that horrendous thunderstorm and awful weather here. And she had a lovely time. She had lovely weather down there. You just never know in Britain, do you? So there we go, like that. Press them all out. So next thing you want to do, oh, that was hot, is then decide what your order's going to be. So I'm going to go grey like that. Let's put that lovely purpley one there, like that. And then I'm going to go with the blue one. Blue, and then the blue and gold one like that. Okay, we're going to stitch these together now. So I'm going to put these two right sides together, and you're going to stitch from that edge there, okay, all the way down one side. All right, and then we'll press that out and then add the others in. Okay, and I'm going to make 2 little sets of the 4. So back over here. Okay, so I like to start from this edge, from the narrow edge, like that. I just find it easier to control it. Go all the way down like that. And when I get to almost the end, because I don't want to see any threads, I don't come right off the end. I tend to lock it off just before the end. There we go. And you get a neater finish that way. Okay, so quickly iron that one out. There we go, like that. And then I'm going to add this one on. So I line it up first, like that. And then I'm going to go from narrow end up. I don't think it matters particularly whether you do narrow end or, you know, pointy end first. Ooh, so we've got a thread caught, there we go. I just find it easier that way. That's just the way I do it. When I get to nearly the end, then lock my stitch off. Oh yeah, definitely. I hope the weather catches up for you, lovely, and you get a lovely week. Are you there all week, or are you just there for the weekend? Are you having a sneaky little weekend away, or is this like summer holiday time? There we go, just press that one out and then add that last one in. And then we're going to repeat that with the other set of 4. There we go. All the way to the end. Not quite there. Sorry, you're a bit late. Afternoon, everybody. Hi, Karen. Lovely, lovely. Thank you for joining us. There we go, and I press them all one way. I'll show you when we go back over to the overhead, but I'm just going to very, very quickly put the other together so that I've got 2 sets to play with. You would need 4 sets of 4 in total per block. There we go, all the way down. So has anybody got any tips on keeping a 16-month-old quiet on a plane for 3.5 hours? Because I'm sure we'll have a lovely holiday, but I'm not looking forward to him, a toddler, on a plane, to be honest. 10 days from last Monday. Oh, lovely, Carol. Oh, nice. It's supposed to be beautiful this weekend and into next week, so hopefully it will catch up soon and you'll get some beautiful weather. There we go. All the way nearly to the end and lock it off. I'm hoping, because we're flying quite early in the morning and he's going to have had a disrupted night, that old Sausage Pants is going to sleep most of the flight. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed for that. But any random tips from anybody who's flown with little tiny ones before? What's that? Get him an iPad to watch. I've got a tablet and I preloaded it with lots of Hey Dougie, because that's his favourite, and Cars as well. So he might just be getting lots of screen time. We're quite lucky as well that where are we going? We're going to just outside Glyfada in Glyfada in just outside Athens. So it's mainland Greece, but just down from Athens. Right. Okay, so we're going to go over here. You can see I've got 2 little sets of 4, and I've ironed them so they all go one way. It just lies nicer when you've got them like that. So next thing you need is some background fabric. Okay, so the background fabric I originally I cut them at 10.5, and that was way too big. So this I've cut at 10, which again is going to be too big, but you do need to give yourself a lot of wiggle room with this because of the way it goes together. The only kids who were good on a flight were the ones watching one. Brilliant. Calpol. Yeah, I did say to Cara, she'll get a Piriton, knock him out, but he'll be fine, I'm sure. So what we're going to do is now normally with the Dresden, you would put it on like this, and there would be another blade like that, okay, like that, and then you put an applique piece here. Am I in the right place for you guys? And you put an applique piece here, okay, to cover these edges. But with this one, because we're doing a partial seam, we're doing it slightly differently. So what we're going to do is you're looking for this point here and this point here, those 2 points there, and you want those to hit the edge of the square. So I'm going to move that one down like that, and that one like that. Can you see I've got it now so that they're both hitting the edges of the square, and it's overhanging. So if I pin that in place and flip it over, you saw something on Facebook about a fidget book and lots of snacks which helped with their eyes. Yes, absolutely. I will. Cara's, I know, I've got lots of snacks in ready. Make sure these ears don't pop and stuff when we take off and things. So I've lined up those corners on the side and the bottom of the background square. And when you flip this over, you can see that you've got lots of excess. Okay. Now you can play around with that. If you want slightly more of one like that, you can. So you can do this as well, which I did play around with too, is just making some marks along like that so that you've got sort of equal amounts hanging off. Basically this line here is going to sit on that corner. So if I don't know if you can see this, I don't know if I'm explaining this properly. So you're going to mess around with them like that and like that. So these corners are here, and this centre line is near as damn it on that corner there. Is it making sense what I'm talking about? There we go. Can you see? So you just move it. Oh, come on. It doesn't want to move against the fabric. There we go. Got it. So that my corners of my blades are on the edges of the background square, and that centre seam is coming off the corner. All right. Is that making sense? Yeah. Hopefully you can see that properly and you can see what I was doing. Basically, you want to get it so that you've got roughly equal amounts off the edges here. Okay. Pin it in place for now. We're going to do some more sewing. So I'm going to do the other one for you. So we're going to add this one on. So background fabric. I found it easier to turn it on a diagonal to do this because I want that centre seam coming off the corner like that, and then wiggle it around until I've got the corners there, that centre seam there, so that it's equal amounts hanging off the edge. What we're going to do now is we're going to take it over to the machine and we're going to top stitch this onto here. Now, if you don't like the top stitch look, you could absolutely do an invisible slip stitch all around this, which is hand sewing. Dawn, you've got a few pocket money toys in a new backpack. Yeah, that's a good idea. Mine was really good. My daughter was young. We were getting off the plane and people in the front. I hadn't realised she was there until they turned around. Oh, that's amazing. I hope he's as good as that, Dawn. I hope he behaves as much as your daughter did. You can invisible slip stitch this on. You know, like needle turn, basically. Or like when you do your binding, you could do that. If you don't like hand stitching, we're going to top stitch this. And that's what I did on this one. We're going to put a top stitch on. I'm just going to do it in the white that I've got on the machine, but you can absolutely do this. Maybe you could do it in a gold. You know, if this was the fabric you were using, pick out one of the colours in there and do it in that. All right. But we're going to basically go like a 1/16 of an inch all the way on those points to hold this onto the background fabric. So back over here, like that. Now, I'm actually going to very quickly change the foot because it's a lot easier with an open toe foot on, not a 1/4 inch, because the blade gets stuck otherwise. So that one can come off and that one can go on. All right, open toe foot, much, much easier. And then, wrong side, I want to start this side. We're going to stitch about a 1/16 of an inch. So what I tend to do is put the edge of the foot on the edge of the blade and then move the needle over on my width. Oh, why is my needle not moving? There we go. Okay, needle to get it where I want it. And the joy of this open toe foot is you've got that little barrier as a guide, but nothing gets stuck and you can see where the needle is. If he is still as a bottle, give him a bottle of juice or water to drink as you take off and land. Might help with pressure on his ears. Oh yeah, that's a really good idea actually, because of the sucking motion. That's why we have sucky sweets, isn't it? Boiled sweets as adults. Getting towards the edge, I'm going to pivot and down we go. And I'm going to stop in the seam there. Josh? Is there any chance you could grab me some water, darling? Thank you. Sorry, I feel I've got a real tickle. There we go, down to that seam there. And just moving all the way around the edge of the blades, the pointy blades. One more there. There we go. Keeping it quite nice and close to the edge. And take it, you know, a bit slow and steady on this. Make sure you've got it. Oh, one too many. Oh, hang on. So if you go too many, thank you, Joe. Cheers, darling. So I can, you know, when you can feel you've got a tickle and you're going to start coughing. Just down that water quickly. Here we go. Oop. Off that edge there. There we go. Right, I'm going to very quickly do the other one as well. We are getting to the point. I know this is taking a bit of time, sorry. But we are getting there, I promise. How many of you have done Dresdens before? Anybody done a Dresden? Oh, there we go. Let's have a challenge post. We haven't done a challenge post for ages and ages. I'd forgotten about it, to be honest. So, challenge post. Challenge is to show us your Dresdens. And if you've never done a Dresden, show us your pointy things. That could be something with a, you know, like pointy end of a star, or maybe it's just your turner. What do you use as a turner? So, Patricia, hopefully this is helpful then, just with the, I know it's a bit long-winded this bit, but hopefully this is helpful then if you've never done a Dresden. So we'll do a challenge post of show us your Dresdens. But if you haven't done a Dresden plate, then show us your pointy things. And show us your pointy things. Or have a go at one of these. Okay, and we'll run it through till like Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So let's go back over here. And you can see, hopefully now you can see I've just top stitched all the way around there. Next you want to do, take pins out on both of them, and you would do 4 of these. You need 4 of these per block, okay? Flip it over, and then we're going to trim off all this excess of the blade in line with the block. So I'm going to line the ruler up with the edges of the block like that, and just trim it back there and there. Okay, so there's one bit done. And let's do this next one. Like that, like that. There we go. So along there, along there. Okay, just get rid of that little bit of excess overhang. Okay. Like I said, you need to make 4 of these. All right, so make 4. Now, I'm not going to put the blades on these 2. We're just going to pretend these 2 background squares have already got blades on them, all right? Carolyn, you're here. You made a few Dresden plates. They are nice. Yes, lovely. Marion, you've made a Dresden. Then you made a sunflower with a bee. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Well, dig out pictures, my darlings. I will do a challenge post when I get back to the shop. The next thing you need is a square of fabric for the centre. Now, I used a 2.5 inch. That seemed to work well with this size block. You can't go too big on this because of how we're going to offset them. So let's find a little 2.5 inch square of my fabric. This could be something really lovely that you fussy cut. You could do a nice little fussy cut there. And then this is partial seams like we did the other day. We're going to offset these round this square. Okay, so pop that one in like that. Okay, I'm going to, like I said, pretend these have got the Dresden already on them. That one's going to sit round like that. And then I would turn them. So this one would sit like this. Okay. And then this one's going to sit like that. Now I know this looks a bit odd because there's no Dresdens here. But I want to show you how to do the partial seams again, okay? But you can see, like, if you imagine, hang on, if I just fold this completed one, see, that would sit in there like that, okay? And then like that, all right? So you've just got to imagine that you've got that lovely Dresden on there, okay? We've got a completed one. Partial seams, all right? So we're going to start by putting this right sides together with this one. So line up in this bottom corner like that, okay? And we're going to only stitch half the block on, all right? So we're going to stitch half the seam, okay? So if that one's going to come in, hang on 2 seconds. that way. I'm going to work this way round. So, hang on. No, what am I doing? A second. Hang on. My brain's gone. 2 seconds. My brain is completely gone. I'm going to add that one to that one. Right. Okay. 2 seconds. I'm going to do it this way because my brain works clockwise, not anti-clockwise. So, we're going to stitch from the middle there just to here. We're just going to go that bit there. We're going to leave this bit here free. All right. So that doesn't matter that it's not, you know, imagine that you've got your Dresden, you just pin it on top of the Dresden. So from there to there. It's all right. I was going to go anti-clockwise and my brain was just like, no, that's not working. I need to go clockwise. So we're going to stitch from the pin, or down to the pin anyway. Oh, hang on. I need to put my 1/4 inch foot back on. 2 seconds. Oh, missed. There we go. Get my 1/4 inch back on. So we're going to stitch from the edge of from the pin, so about halfway. Pin can come out now. Make sure you back stitch, and just off that little square. Okay. Come back over here like this. All right. And we're going to just press that out. I'm just going to finger press it for now, like that. Okay, there we go. So that's now like this. Now the side that's attached, so this is the unattached side here. The side that's attached, we're going to add this one on. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if the camera's too far down. This is all totally attached here, so we're going to stitch this one on. You will have overlap up here. Okay, you're going to have loads of overlap up here. Don't worry about that, you're supposed to. All right, so add this one now, right sides together, like that. Make sure it's all lined up. Let's grab some pins. Where's all my pins gone? I would pin this to make sure that it's right. Okay, I know I don't normally, but it's, you know, you've got a lot of bulk there. You've got those blades, you've got this, all sorts. So just make sure it's all nicely lined up. Is everybody still with me? Are you still all okay with this? So back over here, we're going to stitch this one down. Okay, so start up from the top there. Don't worry about this overhang. You don't need to stitch that. All that's going to be trimmed off in a minute. There we go. All the way down. Like that. Nearly there, I promise. Okay, so take that one off and that one off, those pins out like that, and then we're going to press that way. Oh, hang on, sorry, I'm nowhere near the camera then, was I? Press that way, and again I'm just going to finger press at this point. You don't want any like mega sharp creases, just give it a gentle finger press. Okay, then this one's going to go on. Remember, this would have a Dresden plate on it as well, so it's going to go from the edge of the square all the way across. So we're going to go edge of the square there. Basically you're trying to enclose that square. All right, I'll put this one on. Would make a lovely cushion cover. Yes, it would. I think yeah, that's maybe what I'm going to do with that main one. I'll show you again in a minute once I've put this together. So all the way along there, so I've gone edge of the square, corner to corner, all the way along. I might make these into a... Oh, come on. Oh, is it stuck on? Oh, what are you stuck on? Come on. There we go. Give it a tug. It'll get over. Make them into a pair of cushions for my mum, maybe, because they're definitely her colourway. Okay. Back over here. Oh, look! Yeah, look at that nasty mess there. Oh, never mind. It's only a demo. I would go slower. I'm doing it really quickly, aren't I? There we go. And then we want to just finger press that, and I'm finger pressing it inwards each time. Okay, so just finger press that one. You can give this an iron if you want, but I tend to like to wait to the end because I don't want anything to be too sharp, so I've got a bit more manipulation. Okay, so that's 3 sides on. So my last one, so I want to get this out of the way so that I can get to the whole of that edge of the square. So just pin that one out, the one that was partially sewn. And then this one's going to go from the edge there all the way down. Is everybody okay with partial seams now? You missed the beginning. What are the measurements? I will go through them again at the end, lovely. Let me just finish this, okay? And then I'll go through it for you. 2 seconds. Let me just get this nice and flat. Put a pin in there so that it doesn't get all mangled up again. Here we go. Nearly there. Okay, so I've got this partial one out of the way, stitch down there. We've done partial seams a lot now, and I quite like the fact you can get some different effects with a partial, which you can't necessarily get doing normal seams. It gives it a different look, but hopefully if you've had a little go at some of these blocks, you'll be right au fait with this now. Okay, so I'm just going to take those pins out rather than going back over to the... Actually, no, I will go back over, it's easier. Okay, so I've stitched down there. I can unpin this one now. That one can be flipped out. Like, hang on, I want it to go towards that. So let me just finger press that one in. Like that. Okay. And now I can finish off the seam, this partial seam that I didn't do earlier, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this, and it's going to fold funnily here, like that. And we can finish off that seam. So you do have to sort of like get your fingers in there a little bit with that, you know, just to make sure that's lying nice and flat. So there's the start of the seam that we did earlier. And then we're going to go all the way along. Okay, and that's it done. 2 seconds, let's do that last seam and then I can show you. There we go. This would be quite interesting though, rather than... Oh, come on. There we go. I think I need a new needle. She's struggling a little bit and I've put a new needle in for a while. Are you taking anything to make while you're away, Sarah? I usually have some crochet. I found a lovely wool shop in Holland once and bought more wool than I didn't need. Oh, I remember finding a wool shop in Amsterdam actually, and 2 quilting shops, and I did buy fabric. Still not made anything with them. So I've stitched along there now, okay? No, this time I'm not taking anything with me. Sometimes I do. If it's just me and Phil going, I would take something, but there's the whole family going, and there's 12 of us with all my boys and my mum and little man and daughter-in-laws and stuff. So yeah, I'm not taking anything this time because I think we're just going to be too busy. We're going to be too busy playing around. I'm going to take a couple of books, but I'm not actually going to take anything with me this time. But I do sometimes take some hand stitching or something, and sometimes take crochet. So there we go. Okay, that's the partial seam round there. Okay. Oh, just lost my foot. I'll have to find that in a minute. Obviously, if this had a Dresden in it and this one the same as this, okay, you'd get you'd get more of the effect. You're going to get this effect. Okay. So when you put the 4 of them together, that's what happens. You get this slightly sort of askew Dresden. Okay. But we didn't have time to do both of those. But I was thinking you could play around with this and have these like this with a plain background. But actually, would it look really funky if that was a focal fabric? Do you see what I mean? So you had like the block became that with like focal fabrics with these little funny little Dresdens. Might be something to play around with. Anyway, you end up with something that looks like this, all right? But with Dresdens in both sides, like that. Then you just got to square it up. Okay, now I used my really big ruler and I squared it up to 16 inches, or 15 and a half actually. Okay, I used, well, no, I lied, it was 16. So I used that center square here. So if you've got a 15 and a half inch ruler, you could absolutely do that. I quite like the quirkiness of the block as it is. Yes, it could be. Yeah, it could be quite cute, couldn't it? So do this. So I've got my 8-inch line there and there. So I'm using the centre square, the edge of the centre square to square all this up. But you could do this if you've got a 15.5. But you could also do it if you've got a 12.5 and just measure outwards that way as well. But I'm lucky I've got a really big ruler. And then you're going to go across there like that. Okay. And then turn it. And now I can do 16 by 16 like that. But like I said, you could do 15 by 15, and hopefully you can see that little bit there is on that centre square. Okay. Ooh, I've moved it. Damn it. Come on. No, it was 15.5. It's 15.5, not 16. Oh, never mind. It's 15.5, sorry, not 16. I knew something wasn't quite right. So I haven't squared it up correctly, but you get the idea. Once you've done all your Dresden bits, it was 15.5 I squared it up to. That was it. And you just basically trim off all those overlapping bits. Okay. I would just then put this in my scrap bucket. Use it for more blades. You could use a coloured background and use some of this in the blades, couldn't you? And then, so there we go. It's a Wonky Dresden. I quite liked it. I quite like the quirkiness of that slightly sort of sunbursty, differentness to it. Have you got the rulers? We haven't got the really big ones, I'm afraid. I bought mine when I was at Festival of Quilts from a company called Siesta Frames, which if you go online, they do sometimes still have them. Okay. But yeah, have a play around with it. I really liked the finished product. Finished block. I was really pleased with it. And I think it would make, if I put a really nice border or something all the way around this now, make a beautiful cushion. But I think it would be a stunning quilt. You could do lots of them, put it together as a quilt. And it's quite quick once you get into it as well. I think the turning through and the ironing each of the blades is the most. We normally, Patricia, we normally have the 15.5-inch rulers in, but they're out of stock at the moment. I'm still trying to get them from our supplier, but a 15.5 is quite a useful one. Though that big one is a 20.5, and like I said, I got it from Siesta Frames, who are online, so go for it. They're not cheap, but they are useful, particularly when you're doing big blocks like that. Love the effect. We'll try when you get home. Thank you, and have a lovely holiday. Thank you, Carol. Yes, you too as well. You could just do a plain Dresden on printed fabric. Yes, you could. That would be really nice, actually, Sarah. If you did a like that, and then used all your different blues, maybe blues and greens, and do a plain Dresden, that might be really cool too. So lots of different ways you can set this off and play around with it. I obviously won't see you next week because I will be sunning myself in Athens, well, just outside Athens, preferably eating a lot of Greek salad and drinking a few mythos, having some fun with my boys and my kiddie winks. So yes, it'd be good. Sarah probably won't be able to do any 1 o'clocks next week because I'm taking Beth with me because Beth's Drew's girlfriend, you know that. So Beth's coming with us. So Sarah is basically home alone apart from Lindy Lou helping out when she can. But I don't want, Linda, if you're watching, I don't want you pushing yourself because you have been quite poorly the last couple of weeks. So if she can get cover and she can do a 1 o'clock, she would just put a little note on saying, I'm going to do something tomorrow. But I don't think there's going to be set 1 o'clocks next week. She'll do some lives though. She'll keep in touch with you, okay? And then I will be back the following week. And then Sarah's away for a week. So, yeah, I'm not really going to see her for July. Might actually miss her for a few days. I'm joking. Of course I'd miss her. So, yeah. Hopefully you all guys will get this heat wave that's come in. I will most definitely have a few drinks for you. And take care, my darlings. I'll put that challenge post up. And I'll see you in like 10 days' time. Bye.